Amish Entertainment and Social Networks by Gabby Holzkamp and Audrey Keith.
Amish auctions are considered entertainment for Amish members, but more importantly, they are used as fundraisers for local Amish schools, churches, and community activities. Amish auctions are sometimes referred to as mud sales because they mostly occur during the spring months when the ground has begun to thaw. This event normally happens on Saturdays and will have a large number of people, thousands of sale items, and multiple auctioneers present. Non-Amish people are allowed to attend and participate in mud sales alongside the Amish people. The sale items that are up for bid at Amish auctions differentiate based on the Amish communities involved, but the main items include handcrafted quilts, furniture, hanging baskets, birdhouses, and outdoor structures, as well as Amish baked goods and flowers. During Amish auctions, there will most likely be 5 to 10 biddings happening all at the same time. Some auctions will have a preview of the sale items the night before or will post about the items in Amish advertisements in order to allow buyers time to choose exactly what they want to bid on. Most Amish auctions have a must-go policy, meaning that every item for sale must be sold, which makes for numerous great deals. These auctions serve as a way for Amish people to socialize with their counterparts as well as show off their culture to non-Amish attendees. At the bottom of this slide, there is a picture of what a basic Amish auction looks like, and you can see how much stuff is actually for sale.
Funerals. Funerals in the Amish community are a community-centered event. The members of the community help the grieving family by helping with funerals, preparation, providing meals, and giving them emotional support. Funerals are simple and modest. The main focus is the deceased and supporting the family. It takes about 3 days after the passing for a funeral to take place. A local funeral home will prep the body by embalming it. There is no makeup or corrections added to the body. The family will then dress the body in all white. They then will be laid in a simple wood casket. The funeral will take place at a family member's home or a barn, depending on how many people show up. Many Amish travel from far away to show their support for the grieving family.
The Amish idea of a frolic is when an Amish community, especially the men and boys, unite to accomplish one big task that is too large for one person to achieve alone. Frolics are viewed as fun social activities where the Amish church community can come together and work as well as socialize. Common reasons for an Amish member to host a frolic are to make hay, build a fence around a pasture, clear a field to make a new garden space, and build a barn. The best example of a frolic is building a barn, also known in the Amish culture as a barn raising. Amish families who are in need of a barn host a barn raising party where mostly all of their Amish community joins and helps them build and raise the barn. Most frolics are only one-day activities, but sometimes a second day is needed, especially if it is an enormous job. The concept of Amish frolics goes along with the disbelief the Amish have in insurance as we know it. In order for modern citizens to receive insurance in their times of need, they have to pay the insurance company small amounts, which are then pooled together and given to the family that needs help. The Amish do not believe in exchanging their hard-earned money for protection, so they rely on the good nature of their church community to help them when they are in need of it. Amish frolics show how the community comes together in a time of need and how they are used as Amish insurance. The image at the bottom of this slide is of numerous Amish men working together to build a barn. This is an adequate picture of what an Amish frolic looks like.
Amish insurance. The Amish typically do not carry insurance. There are some cases where they will, maybe from their English job, or the insurance is specifically designed for the Amish, but that is not common. Instead, the church members of the community help. The wealthy Amish businessmen are usually the source of the money. The Amish pay in cash, so oftentimes hospitals are more willing to work with them and cut them a discount. The hospitals know that they will receive the payment faster and that it will typically be paid in full. The Amish do not carry health or house insurance, so if their house or barn burns down or a natural disaster hits it, the community helps build and finance a new one. If an Amish household is being irresponsible with their money, the church temporarily takes over their finances.
Barn raising was a common practice back in the 18th and 19th century, especially in America and Canada. During this time, most people were farmers because that was the best way to make a living. Farmers were in need of shelters that would keep their animals' feed and hay out of the unwanted weather conditions, so they started building barns. Back then, there were not any modern machines that could have aided them in building a barn, so farmers who were in need of one would prepare all of the materials and then throw a barn raising party. Neighbors of the farmer would come and help build and then raise the needed barn, but they normally did not receive any pay or compensation. The neighbors never expected reimbursement because they knew that if they needed help with a task that was too large for one person, they could count on the help of their next door neighbors. Today, the barn raising tradition has declined greatly due to the modern advancements our world has made, but the Amish still participate in them because they have chosen to stay pre industrialized. Since the Amish have decided to reject most technology, they still travel using horse and buggy, and their ideal profession is farming. The Amish live in a church community that results in them living close to one another, which makes hosting a barn raising even easier. On the day of an Amish barn raising, families including men, women, and children arrive at the home in need of a barn early in the morning. The construction of the barn is carried out by the men while the children play, watch, and learn, and the women prepare the meals for the day. When it is mealtime, everyone sits together and visits with friends and family. Normally, the frame of the barn is raised in a single day, but in order to complete the building, additional labor may be necessary. Barn raising is one example of an Amish tradition of frolics. Here is a picture of an Amish barn raising event in Canada, and as you can see, there are many people there to help the family in need of a barn.
Youth groups. Rumspringer is the time between childhood and being baptized into the Amish church. During this time, Amish youth join groups. These groups include youth members of the Amish community and surrounding communities. In larger communities, there are many groups to choose from. Each of these groups have their own name, mostly named after things in nature, like birds. These groups get together and hang out. When they hang out, they have snacks and drinks. They play games like volleyball, sing songs, and have bonfires. They enjoy each other's company and tend to talk and catch up with each other. Some groups are supervised by parents and some are not. Some groups go against the church's will and smoke, drink, drive cars, and own phones. However, this is a very small percent. Oftentimes, youth groups are a place to find a significant other, and buggy rides signify a couple going out.
Amish gangs are not all what people believe they are. They do not tend to be violent groups that terrorize the rest of the world with their behavior. Instead, Amish gangs are teen groups that share mutual interest and most hold true to the Amish way of life, but there are some wilder ones. Some of the most common Amish gangs are named the Bluebirds, the Canaries, the Pinecones, the Drifters, the Shotguns, the Rockies, and the Quakers. In Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, there are Amish gangs also titled the Chickadees, the Antiques, the Happy Jacks, and the Kisses. Gangs are an important part of the Amish youth's formative time known as Rumspringa, and they act as an outlet for the children. Rumspringa starts at around the age of 16 and ends when the youth decides to either be baptized into the church or leave the community for good. Rumspringa is a time where Amish youth are not under parental control during the weekends and are thinking about their future plans, whether that be with the church or not. Since the Amish youth have not been baptized yet, they are also not under the church's control during Rumspringa, so they are free to test out and or do whatever they please, which includes taking part in the outside world. Amish youth are at liberty to choose whatever gang they want to be a part of. Most parents are worried about which one their child will choose because they do not want to lose them to the temptation of the non-Amish society. Amish gangs participate in different activities that are within the boundaries of their group, which allows for socialization, the ability to test out other aspects of the world, and engage in some rebellious behavior. Pictured on this slide is a young Amish girl using a smartphone. This shows that during Rumspringa, Amish youth get to explore with gangs, and even some get to use modern technology, but they still hold true to some of the important Amish values like style of dress.
Kids' toys. Amish children have toys just like the English children do. Outside their school, they have swings, teeter-totters, and climbing planks. Some may even have a slide or a tetherball pole. Their toys cannot use electricity or have batteries. Their dolls are handmade cloth dolls. They do not include faces and are dressed like the Amish little boys and girls. Most of the other toys are wooden. Some wooden games they play are aggravation, chess, and checkers. The Amish also enjoy crafting quilts, little wooden figures, and other things like scrapbooking. In the corner, you can see a picture of what an Amish doll would look like.
Last year when I went to visit my mother, she gave me the toys that she allowed me to play with when I was a little Amish child. So let's see what's in it. First thing is this box of blocks. These blocks. We were allowed to play with stuff like that. We just couldn't play with anything with batteries in it. Show you some of the other toys. We were allowed to play with this. Hang it on her neck. Play with it. No batteries, obviously. This little thing brought back a lot of memories. I remember all this stuff. Golf ball. This little thing. This. These are all my little toys. And check out this little cute thing. A little tiny mirror, and it's pink. Thanks, Mom. And then I found this in it. More of my.
That was a video of a man in Ohio showing the toys he played with as an Amish child.
Even though the Amish have removed themselves from modern culture, they are still entangled with the larger economic system. They still utilize banks for their earnings and pay all taxes that non-Amish citizens pay except for Social Security. One of the most important aspects of Amish life is the feeling of being self-sufficient, so Amish members do not collect unemployment, welfare checks, or Social Security benefits. Instead, financial security and protection come directly from the Amish community itself, which can be seen through an Amish barn raising and the Amish Aid Society. The Amish participate in the barn raising event when there is an Amish family in need of a building, whether it be because weather took down the previous one or because they are starting up their own farm. The Amish Aid Society was founded in the 1890s by the Old Order Amish members of Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Since its creation, the society has spread to Chester, Lebanon, and Mifflin County, Pennsylvania, and St. Mary's County, Maryland. It is run by a secretary, a treasurer, and trustees of each Amish district. The Amish Aid Society is a way to help Amish church members in a time of need, especially after a disaster. The leaders of the society assess the Amish members in need and collect money from their counterparts, which is then given to the unfortunate as a means to help them rebuild. The Amish Aid Society can be seen as a system of fire and storm insurance. In turn, if there is an Amish member who has many medical bills, they are helped by church donations. They can also be assisted through the Amish Church Aid, which is considered to be a type of hospitalization insurance. This picture is of Old Order Amish, who are said to be the most conservative of the different subgroups and who created the idea of the Amish Aid Society.
Weddings. Amish weddings are held on a Tuesday or Thursday in November or December. They choose Tuesday or Thursday so that they have a day to prepare and a day to clean afterwards. Tuesdays and Thursdays allow them to do so without working on a Sunday, which is sacrilegious. The bride makes her and her bridesmaids' dresses. The bride's dress is typically blue, and after the wedding, this becomes her Sunday dress. The ceremony starts in the morning and lasts about 3 to 3.5 hours. Friends and family from all over travel to celebrate. After the ceremony, the guests gather at the bride's parents' house to enjoy 2 meals, lunch and dinner. That night, the bride and the groom stay at the bride's parents' house to help clean up in the morning. They do not go on a honeymoon. They continue to stay at the bride's parents' house till they get a house of their own. In the corner, there is a picture of a buggy that is decorated for an Amish wedding.
One of the first questions that were asked during our discussion board was, do the Amish have much contact with friends that may live farther away, or do they even have friends that live far at all? The Amish do have some friends and family that live far away from them, but most of the time they all live within the same church community. A church community in the Amish culture is considered a family, so even the members that are not directly related are said to be family. The Amish members of a community all live within a close proximity to each other, so it is not a problem to travel from one household to another to have a conversation. On the other hand, someone who does not live within the same community as their friend will have a harder time communicating with them. Letters are the best way for an Amish member to communicate with someone who does not live within a close proximity. This will limit the amount of conversation an Amish person may have with a friend who lives far away. Second question was, why do the Amish ride horses? Why don't the Amish ride horses? Even though horses are a large part of Amish culture, especially by pulling their buggies and acting as a power source for farming equipment, no one will see an Amish member actually riding them. There are quite a few reasons for why the Amish choose to not ride their horses. One is that horseback riding is too close to a sport for the Amish to participate. The Amish do not truly engage in sports because they do not believe in individuality, which is pronounced throughout sports. Another reason why they do not ride horses is because of modesty. This is one of the biggest characteristics of Amish life, so putting it in jeopardy is unheard of. Finally, riding horses as a way of travel is not practical, as most Amish families are large. When Amish families travel, they normally do so together, which means that riding horses instead of taking buggies doesn't make sense. Another question was, are Amish people aware of songs and TV shows in the outside world, and are they allowed to talk about them and sing without getting in trouble? The Amish believe that the outside world is a threat to their culture and religion, so they live a separate life instead. They view modern technology as one of the biggest temptations of the outside world, so they reject most of it. With that being said, the Amish do not have much technology, including TVs and radios, in their homes. This means that the Amish are not familiar with songs and TV shows in the outside world. If an Amish member was caught with the knowledge of a TV show, then a punishment would have to be given because this means that they fell to the temptation of the outside world. It is not against Amish rules to listen to and sing outside world music, but it must be culturally appropriate, which limits them to religious, country, and classical music. The only way Amish members would be exposed to the outside world's music is if they attended a live music festival, which is actually a common practice for them.
One of the questions that were asked were, do Amish grow their social networks over time, or do they just stick with the same group of people over time? They grow their social networks. They often talk to people in other communities and communities far away, such as like Florida or like just from another state. And by doing that, they are able to meet new people. And when they travel to go to things such as a funeral or a wedding, they are able to meet new people that way too. Also, when they get married, they are introduced to all of their family members and all of their friends. Do Amish have any forms of music? Yes. Some of the more progressive groups listen to church music and even use things such as banjos or harmonicas to sing gospel or church music songs. However, most groups just hear German dialect in a monotone voice. If they go to something like Walmart or a grocery store in their community and hear outside music, they will be exposed, but that is not their personal music. The next question is, do the Amish stay aware of the outside world, not only of political issues, but other dangers such as inclement weather, hazards, and dangerous events? Yes, they do not learn about these things as fast as we do, but they do hear through newspapers, letters, and word of mouth. Often, if they have English neighbors, they will warn them things like tornadoes and stuff like that. However, the Amish, being so in touch with nature, are able to understand when these things are coming because they've seen it before. They typically do not focus on politics. Very few vote, but they do write letters to their local magazines and newspapers, so word does get around. And then these are just our citations.